Oh, wait.
Okay, there we go. Welcome, everybody. So glad you're here on a Saturday. I was just saying, and I'm like, I need to record this, that, well, first of all, this is call and response, Opulent Mobility. And, of course, I had to do this theme. I mean, the themes lately have been surrounding like our political climate, everything going on in the world, marginalized communities. The next one is a multicultural view. So it'll be also, I know I looked at melting pot and then I'm like, I want to make it something empowering, something. So yeah, so multicultural view, something positive, something, yeah, so it's going to be good. And then I'm taking a little break. So sign up for the next one if you haven't already. Um, but yes, especially welcome, Laura. We're so glad you're here.
So happy you're
Especially, yeah,
here.
with the amazing exhibition at the Brand and, and the collaborations between with the high school and oh my gosh, the Opulent Mobility, it's at the Brand in Glendale. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Um, I thought this was the perfect moment to do a call and response around disability. And so yeah. And so I had reached out to Laura and asked if, I could like focus on opulent mobility, and it worked out. And yeah, so it's been great. So we did have a smaller group this time, but I was saying earlier, I feel like this is one of the most powerful call and responses. It's probably our 20th, 21st round. I can never remember exactly, something like that. I know, Adiola and Dallas probably know more than I do.
Yeah.
Or April too. But
What did I do? Who, what?
oh, how
That
many
we've
call and
done so
responses
many
we've
of them.
had?
Yeah,
Oh,
I know before you picked it back up, it was like 17. And
17 or
then,
yeah.
since then, you've done the climate, the women resist, and this one. So it is 28.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, cool. So this is number 20. So yes, and it's so important. It's so yeah, I mean, I think let's go ahead and just get into it. Laura, I don't know, I hate to put you on the spot. I know we didn't talk about this. um,
Totally okay. Hi.
I know.
You're used to
Do
it.
you just want to say a couple things about what opulent mobility is and its importance and things like that?
Well, in short, it's reimagining disability as opulent and powerful. But part of that is just that our associations with disability in this culture are so skewed, which is ridiculous. That's like 1 in 4 people are disabled. This is most, and probably more, because a lot of us don't necessarily recognize our disabilities. So this covers, it's so intersectional. It covers really everything. But the idea that somehow if your body is not viewed as being a perfect 18-year-old, that you're not viable as a human is bizarre to me. And that instead of having it be something that is only about the trauma or only about the inspiration, let's have it be about the real disabled joy and have it be about us, not trying to sugarcoat it, but really be about us and for us.
I
So
love that.
that is what I love. And I loved about doing this all as a group. This is such a terrific idea. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. And I mean, I will say I have so much to learn about accessibility. We did an accessibility workshop with Adrienne Grace, who's Tony Pinto's wife, who like teaches accessibility and stuff. And it was really interesting. And I mean, and it didn't even touch the surface of everything there is to learn. But even like this Zoom call, and in the past, Sean Michael Geddes, joined us, and he's deaf, and he had brought like an ASL, person, and so, I as the moderator, the organizer, I didn't know exactly the right steps, and of course, I should have asked. I mean, it's a learning experience. And now I am using AI on Zoom because I can put it it's going to record to the cloud and give me transcripts. So, anything I could do to help, and also a summary. So anything I could do, it's a learning thing. And yeah, every day.
It always is.
Yeah.
One thing I like to point out with accessibility is that there are a lot of different things that we can do that many people don't think about necessarily. But that also doesn't mean you're doing a terrible job. It means maybe start asking some other people what they need. And like asking
like that.
people what their access needs are beforehand is a terrific way to get started. Just ask.
Yes.
And maybe you can provide it, maybe you can't. But that
Yeah.
way you get the conversation started and people feel welcomed.
Absolutely. Jacqueline Romine is a perfect artist, to talk about that. Yep.
So if you don't know and didn't see the show, Jacqueline Romine has this series called Access Denied, which is largely pictures of her back either at the base of staircases or at the top of staircases, unable to get down because she's in a wheelchair. And these are all of the art events that she cannot get into, period. And also, there are the ones where she will do collaborations with the people or talk to the people. So somebody will go in and have gotten a grant and put in a ramp. Other people will have taken video of the event and shown it on the outside of the wall. If you get creative, there are brilliant ways you can make your thing more accessible. And you can just ask.
Yep. I love that. Awesome. Thank you, Laura. All righty. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. Let me see. I know Teresa and Adiola were paired up. And I don't think anybody else here, their partner isn't here, right? So let's go ahead and start with Teresa and Adiola. Let me bring up, let's see. Where is it? Oh, of course. I could do this easier. Oh, there we go. Okay, and let me share my screen. Oop. Normally how this works, if you're just joining us, is the artists each talk about the work that more the process and the experience. You don't have to talk about each individual work unless it's like, this is definitely a strong show and important. But definitely like the experience and how you went about collaborating together and things like that. So, Teresa and Adiola, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Cool. Well, I'll start since I did the call. And so I started with trying to think of, I was considering ways to like represent the people I know in my life who have, various disabilities or chronic illness and things that they're experiencing. And then I ended up deciding to focus on just the things that I could do with my own body because of the turnaround time. And so the pictures that we're seeing right now, this is I have a chronic condition called dermatographia that it allows you to write on your skin, and then migraine and I know one of the things Adiola, has this amazing work about menopause, and my work focuses on menstruation, and so there was a lot of synchronicity there that I saw an opportunity to like be in response to that. So I mean, I think that, and then also the fact that I lost my phone inside my car, like it fell inside my car for 2 days. And so I'm like, my ADHD influenced the number of pieces that we ended up doing. So I feel like there were various ways that, the struggles that I have and stuff, both in a celebratory and in a, had an impact on the work. And And Adiola's pieces, it felt like every single piece felt like it was in such conversation and inspiration. So Adiola, I'll hand it off to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so like Teresa said, she did the call, and it was when she did the call, she kind of, says, let's focus on, she wants to focus on that chronic, um, illness. And I said, well, I have a chronic illness too, because this, that I'm currently in the midst of it with my periformis syndrome and sciatica combined, that will work for me. So the the response was me going back. So one of the first one when she shared with that, I went back and I just been doing acupuncture and when I was at the acupuncture uh, the acupuncturist, I like to pick in and take pictures of the needles.
I've done that.
And and so this was that me taking pictures of the needle and sharing that as a way of trying to get relief from the chronic illness, and then she respond back with the thing, and I think one of them has the video of the writing that a mom did on her, which is also another form of relief. And we kind of went back. It would be, much. We would have had much. I'm glad that this time around that it was longer, even though we end up with this is the most smallest amount of work I've done in call and response because of the different obstacles. Like she said, losing her phone and also work related, getting in the way of doing. But I kind of went with the flow because that means the days that I don't get it, then I just kind of like use that time to get into my self-care, of going through this illness. So yeah, each one it was easy to navigate, and so I tried. I didn't sweat it much. It's like this is my reality. This is what I'm living in at the moment, and yeah, so we kind of go back and forth, sharing, and as much as closely as I could get to responding to what she had for the call. I think one of them is the video, a little clip that shows it's just they're very short clips to just kind of go of being shattered. That particular one is it's like seeing myself in a wheelchair. It's very shattering emotionally in terms of not being able to get up and walk. And for someone like me that's very active and on the go, it's set that breaks and it's set that mental state of mind of this is. And then when she did the one followed that with the, because that was the one with the menstrual came right after the performance, uh, and she Teresa came to the performance and seeing the performance and everything, he said, well, that's really inspired me to want to post this one as the next call. And then it was like, then I responded with um, the manipulating the mask to create an art shape, as a form of love of, in terms of, be menstrual, be menopause. At the end of the day, we need to, love ourselves. Um, and yeah, and the very last one was the one that then she found her phone, so then we could get back on. And this one was where she said she's chronically fatigued. And then, my next response was, I'm emotionally fatigued, and that was the end.
Wow, powerful. So powerful. Thank you both so much for putting your vulnerability out there and sharing your journeys. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Powerful.
All right, let's see. April or Monica or Dallas? Who'd like to go next? Dallas?
I'd love to follow Adiola and Teresa.
Perfect.
Mainly because we had issues too. Even though, and we talked about it, it was a longer period of time, but we had fewer pieces as well. We had email issues, work issues. She's like, "Oh my God, I gotta work," and I'm like, "Oh my God, I forgot." So it was a mess. But we said we're going to do this because it's too important. So since I was doing the call, my thought processes were what are the disabilities that affect all of us now, and what are the ones that we don't really even consider a disability. And that's why my first one are glasses. Glasses are such a norm now, we don't even consider it any kind of a disability. It is.
Yep.
So I want all of the disabilities to get to that point. I didn't used to have to wear glasses. As I aged, I had to start, wearing corrective lenses. So I blinged out, a pair of glasses that, those are just readers. So these are prescriptions, so they're on all the time. Those were just for reading. So that's how I began the call. And throughout the process of all of us, it was keeping in mind, well, so what are the disabilities? What are the things that we use to aid ourselves when there is some kind of deficit? And let's lift that up. So this is how, so you understand the process and what you're seeing here. And this
Yeah.
was as response to mine blinging out, the glasses. And then, of course, the masks. COVID really did bring it to the forefront, right? But there are people that need to wear masks all the time because of their, immunosuppressive nature. So we don't even think about that. Right now, when you see a mask, you think, oh, COVID, No, when I was in Japan, people wore masks to protect those around them so that they wouldn't spread what they had to the people around them. And I loved that. I'm like, okay, so this is a culture that is not me, 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 me. It's us and taking care of each other. And that's where we should be. So that's why, I had the mask kind of blinged out too, because, why not?
Yep.
This was her response, Lena's response. She was so wonderful. We kept going, ah! When we missed something or, whatever was going on. And I did a cane for Laura's um, uh, exhibition. I I found another one of my mother's canes. So I said, well, let me do another one, a different one, since I wanted to be a fresh take on things. So this one is just kind of, fluffed out, blinged out, and just, looking fabulous because why not? If we need something, a stick or cane or whatever to help us walk, why can't it be gorgeous like we are? So that,
Yep.
the impetus for that. And this was her response. I loved her response to that with the shells and all that. It was great. And then, of course, if we have to use wheels for anything, they can be beautiful too. My whole process thinking, like in Long Beach, their public art is amazing. Just because things are functional doesn't mean it can't be aesthetically pleasing. So, there was a wheel off the wheelbarrow. My husband, I said, "Hey, do you need that wheel?" So of course I took it, and gussied it up, and I put it back where I thought. He said, "You don't need the wheel anymore." I said, "Well, I just needed it to portray that when even if we need to use wheels as in wheelchairs or little doggies when they have the little hind legs and they have wheels
Yes.
instead of make it gorgeous." So he said, "So now my wheelbarrow will have." I said, "Yes, you'll have a blinged out wheelbarrow." So there you go.
I love it.
That one was fun. So this was her response to that with her with, and I'm looked in the corner of her piece. Those look like yolks at first. I'm like, are those egg yolks? But no, they're not. I'm like, I had to take a double take on that. So that was her response to the wheels. And then of course those people that have auditory problems, so why not? I didn't have any earmuffs, so I made something to look like earmuffs, um, so that people that are overstimulated by too much, going on around them, they could have cute, nice, pretty, earmuffs to help them maneuver through their daily lives. So that's what that was. And
love it.
that. Yeah.
And then she does bring in eggs.
And then she did bring in the eggs, right? To there. I'm like, okay, okay, that's fine.
But that's
So
awesome.
that was ours.
Yay, thank you so much, Jealous. And you don't need to be you need to stop being so like inspirational. I was just thinking about the next call and response after a multicultural view. I'm supposed to be taking a break. And I'm like,
what about taking a break?
I know. What about one on aging?
Hey, there you go.
I know.
Yes. My father always used to say, it's hard. You have to be strong to get old. That's hard work.
I know. Thanks, Dallas.
You're welcome.
All right. And hey, Kathleen, I didn't see you earlier. Welcome. All right. Who'd like to go next? Monica? All right.
So I worked with, I don't know if it's Dominic, maybe is how you pronounce it. I don't know. He's not here. And for the first time, I did a little bit of correspondence along with the imagery. And one of the things I loved about our process working together was we both have issues of fatigue, and we both need to recover from things that where we expend a lot of energy, and then we need this recovery time. So we couldn't, neither one of us were able to stay within the 24-hour schedule, but we were both very understanding of each other because we both had issues that were disabilities that lead us to need that recovery time. So it felt like that process was everything that Opulent Mobility is about, that we understood each other, gave ourselves and each other that grace to take that extra time. There was no judgment. It was all very full of acceptance. And that was one of my favorite things about the process. So he started with this wash of colors, which was on fabric, and he gave me how he did it. And I started on the day I got my hearing aids, and I wear glasses. So sometimes in the morning I say to my husband, all right, time to put on all my assistive devices. And then I have to remember to put on the hearing aids before I put on the glasses. So it's like, they interact with each other. If I move them, I hear them. And so I was very aware of hearing what I was looking at and all the sounds that were coming at me. And, so that's, I took some of the colors that he had and interpreted that for what I was going through. And then he responded, and again, he liked the waves I had, so he emulated that. Excuse me. And then I went with it again. I was still, at this point, I was feeling overwhelmed with all the sounds I was hearing. And I am someone who would wear earplugs and get overstimulated. And what I've learned is it's very uncommon, I can't explain it well, very common for people with the kind of hearing loss I have to also get overwhelmed with loud sounds. I don't completely understand why, but I was blown away by this. So I'm still adjusting. You know, it's been 3 weeks, maybe just under. But that day, as you could see, I took some found objects and I made kind of an ear out of the wire and a little hearing aid out of some other, I don't even know what it is, but found stuff. And then I spray painted and drew all of that. And then he took the red and did a red wash. And this was the day that I was beyond exhausted and my fibromyalgia was acting up and my arthritis was acting up. So I did the hand with the ribbon of barbed wire for where I was feeling pain in my knuckles. And I started with the red because that's, you know, what that I pulled from him, because red is such a powerful color and often used for pain. And just that it's sometimes I'm a wash with the pain. How I feel like it comes over me like that. Then he started taking the pieces he did and cutting them up. And I was like, oh, okay. I would do that. I was going to do some of that too. And I pulled back the edges. And I haven't completely like interpreted this yet, but it had something to do with like coming apart at the seams and feeling frayed, my nerves feeling frayed, and different parts of me not integrating with other parts. So my hearing and my eyesight. So I have the kind of hearing loss where I didn't have a lot of directional sound, and I could hear a bird but like not be able to see, not know where to look for it, and now I can. So just trying to piece all these different things together and then going out and doing a lot and forgetting, oh yeah, if I overdo it, this is what happens. And my inconvenient forgetting, I guess is what it really is part of what I'm trying to integrate into remembering how to take care of myself. And then he took all these things and he did life. And I was like, that was so powerful to me, because all of these things that he was doing, he put together. These are the pieces of his life. And I wish he was here to talk about it more. And then when I saw it, I just thought of the game of life. And I took time. So I had this game thing without a backing to it. So I cut out my art, cutting up art, sound familiar? And made the letters and put it behind it. And then each one is filled with gems or beads or, you know, things that had meaning for trying to win at the game, and the different ways you can play your life, like going fast and hard and then crashing out. There's one that you end in a skull before you get to the thing, and then, you know, or taking your time and slowly and being mindful and meditative, to kind of extend your time that you can participate in life. And so that was the one that we ended on.
Oh, that's so cool. And you know, isn't that from Trouble? Wasn't the game where you push down? I mean, which totally has another level to life, right?
Yeah, that's just the one I had.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, this will work.
Yep.
Because really, we're making our own game of life. You know, my game of life is going to look different than everybody else's game of life.
Yep.
So I kind of liked that it wasn't the actual game, but it worked. It totally worked.
Yeah. I love it.
I love, you know, we didn't have as long a one, but again, the process meant so much to me. I felt so seen and heard and understood in needing to take that recovery time. God, the day after Mother's Day, I needed 2 days. I needed 2 full days before I could do anything. And I got it, you know, because also, you know, he's a double lung transplant person of many years ago, and he's dealing with a lot of chronic issues and result of the anti-rejection drugs that he has to take every day. So he understood that completely, and it was like that was worth not having as many pieces to be able to have that understanding in the process.
I always say it is about the process. All, no matter what that looks like. I love that part of it. Yeah.
I loved this one.
Thank you, Monica. Adiola, do you have a question?
No, just a comment.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
In looking at my with Teresa and Deli's talking about, and also Monica talking about how it's been, we all didn't have a lot as much. Well, the title of this is Opulent Mobility, and it really emphasized that chronic, about having these issues can impact, but we all embrace it and give it the best we can without going. We got to have like the number one, because it really kind of answered the title of this call and response. I just wanted to kind of point that it's interesting how it's showing up.
Yep, exactly. Yep, I love that. Thank you, Adiola. All right, Kathleen or April, would you like to share? April? Okay, let's see. Let me find, no, not that April. Oh, there we go. All right.
Okay. Well, it kind of feels odd speaking about this without my partner being here, because I can't, we didn't really have any communication. Just exchanging of emails with here's live, and then the picture. So, but I wanted to do a paper doll and a jointed paper doll, and it kind of coincided I guess with my life, because I was not feeling very aligned, or I was feeling disjointed, so I wanted to make this, and then so she called off that, and I just posted the different limbs, different pieces that I was doing. And really, like the pictures that we did, it was more, for me, it was more process photos than actual completed pieces. And but I mean, the pictures seem to have more of a conversation than she and I ever did. So, I mean, that's saying something at least. But I think they talked well to each other. And then I started making a life-size one, and I liked how that was going, but I have other things that I need to focus on right now. So that's just sitting, all the separate limbs are sitting in a box right now. And I like the way hers ended though, because, well, although we had more time for this call and response, she was out of town and dealing with some family stuff, and so our back and forth sometimes wasn't the 24 hours exactly, but it was okay, because I was like, look, we got 14, that's what we're trying to at least aim for. And I did ask her, I'm like, do you want to keep on going? She's like, yeah, I'll be okay with that. And then I said, you know what, let's just end it here, because I mean, and I didn't want to sound dramatic, like let's just end it, but it was more like, this was I thought it was a good place to end, because I had collected them to put them in the folder for Christine. So I had I had seen them all like lined up, and I thought the shoes was a good bookend to the paper doll at the beginning, because there was like 5 pieces there, and there's 5 shoes there, or no, there's not 5 pieces, there's more than that. Okay,
5 pairs, or well,
there's 5
4
pieces
pairs.
of
Yeah,
us, you know,
what I
that's what
mean.
I was thinking. I was like, there's 5 of us, or, 5 limbs. But yeah, so I thought it looked good at least. And I don't know, I guess the colors we're working with, like it looked like the same palette of like photos, and her carpet looked similar to my carpet, but it's like, okay, yeah. But yeah, I felt, see, now I want to like turn it over to Madeline, but I'm like, okay, now you say what
I
you
know.
yeah.
Well, thank you. It looks like it was a great collaboration.
Yeah. That's
And
good.
the same thing as far as, I mean, we do what we can, as we can. We do the best we can. And it is about process. It's about the in between, and this is just documenting the process.
Yeah, and that I felt that was more important than anything, because it's sometimes it's not even the end product that matters the most. Like if you I talked to somebody and they were telling me that they had done something that required a whole bunch of skill and something for this particular, to gain something, but they couldn't even remember what they were going for in the first place, but they remembered the striving and the discipline, and
Yes,
I was like, because that's what's important. It's not even what you end up gaining sometimes, it's what you did to get there. So
exactly. I do want to see in the future, I'd love to see
full size,
the
life
doll.
size.
Yes,
Fuck yeah, I
yes.
know. I know. I'm just right now. I'm with the torso, because I didn't want to make it one solid piece like I did with the small paper doll. So what I'm gonna do is make a small paper doll again, but make it with 3 torso parts.
Oh, cool.
So I have an idea of how to work it before I make it in the large form,
Oh,
because
good.
that's where I'm like, how am I gonna do this? And like, and because it's also tricky, like laying down and tracing on yourself, I know it, yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, April.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathleen, did you want to talk about yours? Let's see. Oops. All right.
So this is actually the third call and response that I've done. I did the Women Resist, and then I did the changing climate change. And this was the hardest one for me. I think, years ago, I was on disability for 10 years because I underwent some trauma as a kid, and it all came roaring up in my 30s. And I wound up helping I had a wonderful woman that I worked for, Martha Griswold in Pasadena, and she had a radio show on disabilities, and I used to help give workshops on universal design. And I was a real advocate on, that was in the time when they were just starting to put the sidewalks in. And I was going to we had written a grant to this is a really hard issue for me, because it's hard for me to see the opulence on the other side of it. And yet I saw the I saw the and when I was like the cheerleader, and I was like, okay, I have my PTSD and my little issues, but let's not talk about those. In fact, at one time, um Martha, their guest, didn't show up, and I was in Hollywood with my son. He was in a stroller, and they said, would you be willing to talk about your disability? And I said, sure. And then they started asking me questions. And they were like, so what do people say when you tell them? And I'm like, tell them what? I can talk about your disability and let's make things fair for everybody else's disability, but don't put the camera on me, which is funny because I was a theater major in college. But don't get real. Anyway, and then and then I got off of disability. I became an art teacher. I had like this life, and this is my knees and my knees, and I didn't know what to do. I saw that I loved that show at the Brand. I looked at the things online and I was like, yes, and I was just loving everything that I saw there. But it's been really hard. I have arthritis in my knees. I didn't even think about I was really impressed with how some of the other artists, were looking at all the different schools of disability, because it's something that I have a history in and of helping people. And I like to be the helper. I don't want to be the helpee. Let me tell you how inspirational you are, and let me help get you some resources, And I just kept looking at myself, and I was struggling with medical, and then so I'm feeling like all of this. I was struggling with my doctor in January and February to just be seen, and just have this pain that started in December in my legs, and they think it's now varicose veins, and on top of my arthritis that's in my knees, and they want to give me knee replacements, but I need to lose, a lot of weight first, and all of that. That's kind of like the saga of a century. So I feel really kind of unspecial. But then I work with teenagers, and teenagers are all about, being cute and cool, and and using a cane is not cute or cool. And I was like, you know what? It should be. And, and I would say this and look in the mirror and go, being, be, using a cane. And then I start to think of, all the dapper dandies, So this first one, I just took a canvas board and I just outlined my knees, and I put all the area where the pain is. And then I talked to and it was all about me, and then, oh gosh, I could kind of relate to what April was saying about she wished her partner was here because it would unlock so many mysteries. Uh Shaloka is in India, and she was diagnosed with now I see, I'm so into my own head. She was diagnosed oh guy.
That's okay.
Anyway, a very serious illness, like the cerebral palsy. It might not be cerebral palsy. Like, isn't that awful? Anyway, and so then I felt like, oh my God, here I'm complaining about my knees, and she hasn't been out of her house for 10 years. Over a decade, she said. And so then here I was just like, okay, I don't know what I'm making art about. So I put Venus because, that's going on with my legs. All right, here's my veins and let's make them sexy. And I'm feeling electric because I'm on fire, And then she has this beautiful butterfly, and I wish she was here, but because there was so much I wanted to say to her, but at the same time I was dealing with finals and graduation and getting kids out into the world and going uh um and wow. I mean, her work is really beautiful. And so then I got this box for Mother's Day. I got this box from one of my daughters, and and so I decorated the box, and I didn't know how to like take pictures of all of it. So I took a bunch of pictures, and then I guess anyway, so I just wound up taking that picture of it because I realized, it's kind of like a Pandora's box when you're when obviously when I talk about disabilities, because
Yes.
we Martha, who was so amazing. She oh guys, she was such a wonderful woman, and she was the very first woman to enter a doctoral program at USC. She got all the way to she had 2 units left to do, and found out that she was taking a theology degree. This was like in the 1950s, and she found out that the Methodist Church would not allow her to practice as a minister, and she dropped out. She was so brilliant. And like I said, she had this an Access TV show. She had all of these different things. So, it was Pandora's box for me. And
Yeah.
And oh, what I was going to say is the one thing she used to say is, we all have disabilities. We all have places where we don't come up short. The only difference is some are more visual than others. And I remember she used to have this electric wheelchair, right? And I was her assistant. So I'd go along and clear out things and do that. And I remember one time we went to the grocery store, and I was off from a thing, and I saw this woman coming up to her to approach her, and she said, "Honey, can I help you?" And she turned around and she's like, "Yeah, get your hands the fuck off of my wheelchair." And I was just like, oh my God. And she was such a lady in other ways, and she dealt with a lot of people in the city of Pasadena. And anyway, there's stories about Martha I could go forever. But so I kept struggling with opulence and disability, and how can I turn this around? And I felt like, I came up with this quote: "Healthcare only matters if you want to live." And I realized, there's times when it says, let's see, "I wish you knew, but I can't explain. I see you look and understand ignorance truly is bliss. I prefer it when you stare instead of look away, as I make way with my posse of privilege, and cut the line. Shake your head. Ignorance is bliss." And that was kind of just some thoughts that I had in recent days of being out in public, and either being in having to be escorted someplace in a wheelchair, or just having people with me, and it just, and feeling like even my doctors, who are supposed to be helping me with this, they don't give a shit. And once I saw the specialist that I waited 3 months to see, he was telling me that basically everything that I had heard for the last 3 months from my other doctors meant that they didn't know the first thing about the veins. And that was really frustrating. And it, I have chronic depression, and I try to pretend I don't, which works really well. No, it doesn't. In fact, I had a therapist who said, "Kathy, you really have to stop laughing at your problems, because they're not going to go away that way." And I on a daily basis, I usually do. But this was really hard for me. And so that's my little tree there. I thought, this is opulent disability. This is me with all of my disabilities, and aren't they pretty? And then you could see again, she had these lovely collages and abstract art and poetry. It was her thing. Now, okay, so this is my final piece. And as I was sitting here, I thought about the Met Gala came up, right? And so what I wanted to do is I took a picture of my cane, and that's the one in the center. And then I took all of these different, some of the most opulent outfits, right? And I really wish I had had more time to fits and play with this more, but these are versions of my cane, like for all of the different, like there's Zendaya's is over here, is on the left. And who is that? Is that Nicki Minaj? I can't remember. Anyway, and so all of the different Janelle Monáe, and Coleman Domingo. And so I made a cane for each of them. And I thought, I really would love canes that looked like this. And I thought, my cane, everyone always says, "Oh, what a pretty cane." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, thank you." What the hell is a pretty cane? Anyway, and it is a pretty cane. I got it at Walmart of all places because I've had several canes, and this is the prettiest one. And I got it at Walmart, and it has flowers on it. It has a flower print, and
I feel somebody needs to curate a show of artists who decorate canes.
yeah,
Make canes opulent.
right, yeah. Well, and then put out a line of them, and a couple of times as I was going through this thought process, as you can tell, it's really complex and convoluted in up here. And 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 so I took more than 24 hours. And I know at one point she was like, "Hey, aren't you gonna send something? The idea is that you do this in 24 hours." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know. I'm really sorry." And and I had so many questions about her work that I wish that she was here.
Well, you can always reach out to her later on.
Yeah, you know what? I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But at the end, I thought she said, "Okay, so I'm sending you this last one." So since I was the call and she was the response, I thought that was it. But then she said, "Well, we're supposed to have 14, and I guess we don't." And so she said, "Well, I already sent it to Christine. Do you want to send another one?" And I was like, "Huh?" And at the time I was giving finals, and I was like, "Oh shoot. I This is awful. Kids nowadays, high schoolers, they just don't show up to their finals. They're like, "Where's
It's
my grade?"
probably another another story for another time.
Oh, but what I was going to say is, well, you know what? I skipped my final. And so I apologize for skipping my final project, but yeah, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place, and I don't mean to ramble.
It's
I
a beautiful.
really did get something out of it. I think at the end, by connecting with that Met Gala, as much as it got back to it. I took the knee that I started with, that is in so much pain and scares me and makes me walk like a little old lady. And I said, "You know what? I'm not sure where this is going. It's kind of new for me in some ways. And I know I'm going to get there, but here's some blueprints of how awesome I'm going to be when I do."
Perfect. I love that. That's such a great way to end your collaboration on, and to a positive note for the end of this artist talk too. I love that. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
thank you, everybody. I think we got everybody right. I want to make sure I didn't miss everybody. Again, very, very, very powerful wait, let me stop. Oops, no, that's not what I want to do. Powerful, round this time, for Opulent Mobility. And thank you, Laura, for, being the inspiration. And, we're happy to celebrate you and your exhibition at the brand and, and everything that you do. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for doing this. This was terrific. It was really lovely hearing about your experience with it. And yes, this stuff is personal, and no one expects you to go direct, do not pass go to opulence. Everybody's in their own stages with whatever journey they're at. So, but seeing that that's a possibility, I think is really powerful. And I think all of you found that.
Exactly. I love that. All righty. Well, Monica.
I was disappointed because I'm an artist to find out how small my hearing aids are that you can't really see them because I was planning to bling them out, but people don't even see them. I'm like, my whole idea is shining a light on invisible disabilities. How do I shine a light on this? I feel like a fraud. You can't see them.
You get a light.
I was about to say, you
look good.
Or get some beads.
You can maybe make something really nice, like a wire that hangs over your ear and has like an arrow pointing at it or something.
Oh, you're an artist. You can do something to shine lights on it. You get one of those earring cups.
Yeah, we're a headband with like flashing lights
little
on.
arrows.
Yeah.
put a hand and say, talk to the hearing aid.
Yeah.
Wear a shirt.
Teresa, you're brilliant.
Or a button that says that.
I love that.
I'm getting the whole t-shirt.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Or I think you should get some beads and put a little sign that says the real stuff is inside.
The people, when I tell them I have hearing aids on, they talk louder. And I'm like, no, that's not what I need now. Before, maybe.
Yeah.
Just interesting people's reactions. Anyway, I just wanted to add.
Sometimes they'll have the controllers for them, so you can figure out zones of hearing, and that's always something that you can decorate. But also getting like a hearing horn would be hilarious and awesome, I think. And I was going to try to get the one from Le Flaneur, but it's like it's trapped behind the lamp right now. But it's like a serious funnel one, so you could use it either as an ear horn or you can use it as a megaphone. So there's an option. You can always do that.
I'm gonna for this upcoming Opulent Mobility call, maybe I'll think of something like that.
There you go.
We're just saying, it's up now.
Yes. Oh, does everybody know that there's a call?
Yes. So for the regular, because the show is going to be in December, but the regular call for art is up right now at opulentmobility.com. So
awesome.
If you would like to join us, please. Deadline is August 31st.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Hey, so you got some time to think up some things.
Make some canes.
All right. Make canes while the sun shines.
Yes.
Maybe my doll will be finished by then.
Yes. Yes.
There you go. I mean, it gives you a little bit of a window, right?
Yeah.
There's
Adiola's canes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That you've been wrapping up. We could do something with a rollerator.
100%.
Yeah.
Always.
China Adams, I don't know if you saw, she has a show at Project LA where she's like walkers. There's walkers. It's a very conceptual contemporary show.
Okay.
Carl Berg curated it. Let me see if I can find a link to put in chat. Let's see. Yeah, Poles, Walkers, and Black Sheep at CMA Gallery. So here, I'll put the information in chat.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's see there. Oops. Oh, of course, that's too long. Or the, wait. Let me cut and paste. Oops, no. Cut. Okay. There we go. And yeah, I'll send everybody chat stuff. So.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yep. All righty, everybody. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, and stay cool. I don't know what the weather is like outside. I haven't been outside yet.
It's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot over here.
Yeah, I'm sure in Vegas for sure.
Oh, I'm not in Vegas. Oh,
And, oh yeah, you're in 29, but yeah, Monica's in 29 Palms. So it's
What
fine.
is it over there where you're at, Monica?
Let me see. I mean, it says 95 here, but
It's 100 right now, it says.
Ouch.
Okay, it's 80 here.
Enjoy the
Sorry.
cool LA weather.
All right.
Yeah.
Monica,
right.
how long you gonna be
So
there?
it's cool over here.
I'm coming back Wednesday night.
Oh, Wednesday
Yay.
night. Okay, so you're
Okay,
not
cool.
gonna be-
Have a wonderful time.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
All right. Thank you
Okay,
all.
bye everybody. Take care.
I'll call you to see about meeting up to have coffee and going to that place I told you about.
Oh,
You go to the-
right. And now we're being recorded still, but yes. When
Connect. Connect.
contact me. Okay.
Bye.